right, intro music. It is February 21st, episode 5 of Behind the Seams, presented by Standard Issue Tees, featuring the host, Jared Lee, and his co-host, Jimmy Gorecki.
Hello, hello.
Today we have an amazing guest. Before I introduce him, I just want to take everybody down memory lane real quick. It's about 2000, 2005, 2006. The prints are all over. New Era hats are the biggest they've ever been. They're built from all sorts of fabrications. You got denim, you got patent leather, Fairfax. The sidewalk is still clean. There's no restaurants to actually eat on. There's all these brands there, but everybody's there's a lot of unity there. Everyone's together. There's one main cause. So you land at LAX. Somebody picks you up. They drive you down La Cienega. You go by Randy's Donuts. You bang over to Fairfax, come up, and you would see a crowd of people there, all friends, working together, probably going to National that night. Yeah. And I just explained to you one time that Nick Terche picked me up from LAX, and I'm pretty sure it's the first time I ever saw Alex James. And the love and embrace from everybody was something special back then. It was cool. It was especially coming from the East Coast. Mm-hmm. So I meet everybody, not realizing that a handful of those individuals from that group were from the East Coast too. Me coming from Philadelphia, there's a gentleman, he's about 3 feet taller than me. I got to introduce myself. I'm Jimmy. He's Mr. Alex James, today's guest for episode 5. So
what's going on, everybody?
A little
welcome.
But I do feel like that was the first time that we met.
It was.
Which is pretty cool because I have such fond memories of that time in Fairfax and streetwear.
Yes.
You know.
That was the first time I lived in LA, and Nick was definitely one of my first friends in Los Angeles and connected me to a lot of cool people like you.
What year did you move here?
2005.
Damn. 05.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you said.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I don't think I had the guts to fully commit to moving to LA in 05. Yeah.
I did. I said, fuck it, let's do it. And, moved back and forth a couple times, but I'm here to stay. I love LA.
You would drive back and forth or fly?
Never.
Never drove?
Hell no. Fly.
You ever driven to the East Coast, Jared?
Oh, hell no.
What's the longest you ever driven?
Vegas, and I gotta make I gotta make 10 stops, dude. I can't.
Oh man,
I can't do long distance.
You need to get a Winnebago and throw them kids in the car.
No.
Shit, we used to drive all over DMV, Chicago, Toronto, Montreal. We was hanging out in Canada heavy because it was like 6 hours or 9 hours away.
From the East Coast?
From Jersey to Montreal or Toronto.
And that's like, at that time, that's like when Good Hood is popping?
No, not Good. Good Foot.
I'm sorry, Good Foot. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Foot Locker actually had like different Nikes from US. Uh-huh. So there was like a lot of cool stuff. Good scene. I was hanging out at this punk rock bar called Bloodbath in Montreal. It's pretty sick.
What you just said is what, when I think of you, Alex, as both personally and professionally, you've always been someone that's had you've been locked in on so many different types of communities. You've always had your hands in different things, different interests, different design influences, different cultural influences, and I think that really is like the gist of what I hope we can convey to our audience today, because it's represented your career, whether it's brands that you've worked on, projects you've been involved with, current brand ownership, and maybe that is the East Coast in you. You know, it's like we grow up,
sure.
And like, you know, I had friends that were like into grunge and introduced me to Doc Martens, and I was, you know, somebody like Keith who skated and introduced me to the Gravediggers. You know, so. Yep. You know, do you feel like that's a product of your environment and coming up in Jersey?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the juxtaposition of being in between two major cities, having access to live in the suburbs and have that life, and then be able to escape and go to the city, go to Philadelphia and all these places. I feel like I wouldn't have had those opportunities if I wasn't able to explore, you know? And I love the East Coast. I just always had an obsession with California ever since I was a kid, and I knew that I wanted to move out here.
What part of Jersey?
I grew up in a town called Matawan.
Gotcha.
It's exit 120 off the Garden State Parkway.
Damn. Jersey is like there are so many. Philly's right across the bridge. It's a big. People don't realize how big of a state Jersey is, and there's so many townships and counties within the whole state that like you just would never have any idea if you didn't grow up there. I guess it's the same as everywhere else, but you know when you figure the amount of commuting people between New York and Philly do between each other. So when you were like, all right, Bong, I'm going to leave. I need to get up out of here and see some more of the world. Did you go north or did you go down to Philly first?
No, New York for sure.
You did, huh?
Yeah, because I was closer to Philly. Was a little bit further away. My dad was always like, "Yo, don't go past, Bowery into the Lower East Side because it was like a fucking war zone back, back in whatever mid-90s, right?" And it was just like hanging out at like CBGB's, the OG, all these fucking downtown spots. It was cool. Tramps, wetlands.
What year was this? If you could think back.
Like 96, 97
Gotcha.
to 2000s.
Damn. I remember the first time we took the train up to New York to skate from Philly. We took the Greyhound up to Port Authority, and then I think maybe skated from Port Authority downtown. Probably was not there was probably a better route that we could have done it, but we didn't know no better. And I just remember being scared shitless. Like if I get hurt skating up here, how am I gonna call my mom? What the fuck is she gonna say? Like, luckily we didn't. I ended up meeting, we had a really good friend. His name is Fletch. He's from Long Island. He would take us around. And there was another friend of ours named Ghetto Dan from Jersey. Ghetto Dan and Fletch were good friends. Fletch pulls up with this little kid that's amazing. It's Anthony Papalardo.
Amazing.
Ends up being like one of the best East Coast skateboarders ever. Skateboarders in general.
Great rider as well.
Yeah. No, different Anthony Papalardo.
Oh, okay.
There's actually two Anthony Papalardos. Yeah. But, well, hold on real quick. Let me get you a beer. I need these to drown the pain.
Thank you.
Alex told me in the beginning of the season, he said there might be two teams in the Super Bowl that are green. One at the bare minimum.
Yes.
He's a Jets fan, Eagles fan.
Yes.
Luckily, one of our teams made it. He was rooting us on the whole time.
Nice.
And because of that, I want to see the Jets
do well,
be the team that I know that organization wants them to be. So it's either Rodgers or Carr, one of the two, huh?
David Carr, I think would be a great pickup. I will say that I've been a Jets fan my entire life. It's the only team I really rode for my entire life. I've been a fair weather fan, as my wife would say, with the Los Angeles Clippers. I'll be honest. Yeah. I don't love the Clippers, but I'll go to the games.
It takes a lot to warm up. Like,
it does.
I always had a love-hate relationship with the Dodgers, and they battle the Phillies. I have a warm spot for the Dodgers now.
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for them. The Rams, I'll never bang with. I don't even think the city bangs with them. I think people from like San Bernardino or like Orange County, or Santa Barbara, they drive down and they're Rams fans.
Because real LA people cheer for the Raiders.
They do.
Straight up.
And then the Lakers, obviously, this is a Lakers city, so it's like you're not going to get around it,
I know.
But I fuck with people that are Clippers fans because I'm like, you are going against the grain, Like
against the grain.
This is not the popular vote here.
It's not, but you know what?
I love the Clippers, man.
With shouts out to the Clippers standard issue collaboration.
They've been really good to us. They really.
We saw it on the Jumbotron when we was there.
How sick is that?
Well, we were at the game, but I don't think it was the game you were at. I think it was like same week or something.
Oh, sick.
And I tried to take a photo, but I couldn't get it fast enough. But it was pretty sick.
I was tripping. Amelia was like, my daughter was like, Dad, look. And we looked up, and because I didn't know that was coming.
Right.
We were just psyched to go in the pro shop and see the stuff there. Mm-hmm. It was on display before you walked in. But then to see that was really cool. So, but that's us trying to get to the level of partnerships that you've been able to achieve with Pleasures and your other companies, which we'll get to. which is interesting. Me and him started working together in March of 2018. Mm-hmm. But before I even came on board, there were Pleasures and standard issue products in the market already.
Or it was brewing, right?
No, I think they were out.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Well, we did a run of the
thermals,
the heavyweight thermals, mm-hmm. which now become like a pretty widely known thing. I feel like you guys are definitely a part of or the start of that wave, and now it's kind of like all over.
You do, yeah.
Yep.
And
cheers
to that,
Jared. Cheers to your water.
Cheers to the water.
Boom.
Cheers to the water.
A little morning Modelo.
It's actually really good.
It's so good.
Fuck, where were we at? My bad.
Hold on. Before we, all right, so we'll get to that part. So you start going to New York.
Yeah.
Then eventually start working your way down to Philly.
Yes.
What year is this, and what's going on in Philly when you start to come down?
All right, so this is like when I'm in college, 2002, 2004 vibes.
Yep.
Hanging out at the First Unitarian Church on 21st and Chestnut. There's a guy, Sean, who used to put on shows there, R5 Productions, still is putting on shows there today. I saw this band that I really like is playing there in a couple weeks, High Viz. And Jeremy Dean's Nuts, Philly dude, did the artwork, same location I was going to, 20 years ago. Pretty sick.
That's sick.
So you're going down to see bands at venues out to this day.
Bands, fucking parties, shampoo. Wow. Fucking
shampoo's legendary.
I used to hang out at the Kyber.
Miss you, shampoo.
Yeah, I used to hang out at the Kyber on South 2nd.
Yep.
And South and 2nd, right? TLA.
TLA, yep.
Was it Trocadero?
Yep.
Trocadero was in Chinatown.
Electric
Factory was lit.
Electric Factory was lit.
I saw Animal Collective at Electric Factory, and it was like mind blowing.
It is a music city.
Yeah.
A lot of good bands will pass through Philly, and have made the effort of making sure they've gone through. And there's many. There's smaller venues. There's bigger venues. So eventually, you realize, though, I need to see more than the East Coast.
And my brother had moved out to LA in like 1999 or something.
Older brother.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was like, all right, I want to go check it out. So he was like, yo, just come visit me in the summer. Came, checked it out. And I was like, damn, this is where I want to be.
Sick.
Yeah, it's tight. It's so different from where we're from.
Yeah.
You know?
So right after college then?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
At that point, too, you're thinking, if you're talking like Fairfax Street, where the majority of us has strong relationships with most of the brand owners. If you're lucky, you got thrown a job, whether it's design, shipping, you might be in the store, but there's still the opportunity was still a bit lacking though during that time period, right?
Yeah.
You either had a brand that was like, you were figuring out how to get this thing over the hump, or it was like, man, you might be promoting some parties or something,
A lot of party promoting during that time.
National.
Oh, I'm not following what you're saying. Sorry.
No, I'm saying during that time period when you first had moved out here, it was just really this small circle of brands that
Oh yeah, it was really small, and a lot of those brands that were from that time that I loved were like Plain Gravy, which I thought was like the fucking super
Plain
sick.
Gravy was awesome.
Super sick brand. Fresh Jive. Fresh Jive had, was on Fairfax as well. Yeah. Cool shit. Legacy brand, always fucked with it. Yeah. And then fucking Awesome had that one shirt with Karl Lagerfeld that said Gangster Situations across the top.
Oh yeah.
And everybody in the city was wearing that shirt. It was crazy.
A real graphic tee era.
Yeah.
Everybody was wearing that shirt, and it was just like everybody was going to National, Cinespace, LAX on Sundays.
Crimson
was in a while, but we were more on this infusion of French disco and you know, an LA music scene mashing together.
Yeah.
Ed Banger, bands like Justice, Daft Punk, you know, were playing these smaller spots, and it was just fucking going crazy.
My favorite was what's it called that used to work for the Hundreds, skater.
Dylan Francis.
Nah.
No, his name.
Why am I drawing Gomez?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because I would see Gomez, and Gomez would go right into Freeway, Petey Crack, Hove, Beans, and he'd go back to the beat. He would run the same 5 or 6 songs for me like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, all right, this is all I need, you know, and then be out.
He's an amazing DJ. And he's also a really funny guy.
He is funny as fuck. Yeah.
I fuck with Gomez. Get him on the show.
So at that point, at what point are you like, you know what, Bong, I need to get back to the East Coast?
My dad wasn't doing so well, so his health was failing. So I got to spend some time with him over the next couple of years. Was working at a software firm in New Jersey.
No way.
Helping out with like data center implementation and shit like that. It was cool. Office job, whatever. Started doing vintage sourcing, vintage selling.
So we got a close mutual friend. His name's Michael Eli. Shouts to Michael Eli. He goes,
Shouts to Mikey.
Jimmy, you know how big like the Brooklyn flea and stuff is out here? And I'm like, what do you mean a flea market? You know, like
Right.
And he's like, yo, you realize like vintage is like really on the up and up. And I'm like, I don't realize that. And he's like, yo, our man A. James is shipping bundles and tons of vintage clothes he's sourcing it all across the globe. You know, and I think back when you see how big vintage is now, it fucks me up because I'm like, I remember Michael telling me that Alex was on this thing so long ago, and so much for it that he had been able to create a business for himself around sourcing all this shit. And I'm like, nothing gives me more anxiety than having to locate old clothes in other countries and then bring it back.
You were jumping into
sorting
bins?
through it, finding the shit that's valuable, and then figuring out how to repurpose and sell it, you know?
I mean, like, I was getting it from Honduras, right? From like a curated recycled clothing center, getting it shipped up here, picking it up at a warehouse in the Bronx, you know, and sorting it. But it was like good shit. It was like curated. It wasn't a bunch of junk. But I was also just going to thrift stores and looking at like Facebook sales and stuff like that.
Oh, damn.
You know, finding stuff, spelling errors on eBay early on were a big move. My business partner, Vlad, used to be really good at that and came up on this really sick Portishead shirt because they spelled it wrong. And it's like a sick shirt. But yeah, there was an OG crew of people. You know, obviously Brian Purcell, definitely the most famous, I would say, in America for vintage. But definitely everybody was a part of that crew, selling, buying, trading. It was like a big community. It was cool.
And the thing, there's a lot of stores that have built legit businesses off of this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
to speak to all these nuances about the misspellings, the shape of original bootleg tees, like it's a whole world that
Right.
I still can't wrap my head around, you know.
But it's also helps the world because it's the easiest sustainable way we can help the environment for like clothing waste.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
Like try to keep my kid in all secondhand clothes. You know, and there's children's waste is
a lot,
insane.
A lot.
So
for sure.
When you're going through these digs, if off top, what's probably the single most to you the coolest thing you've found for yourself digging through all these piles of clothes?
There's 2 things that come to mind. One was a Snow Beach jacket, original.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty good shape. Got it for $13.99.
And probably could have sold it for what?
No, I did sell it. I did for like maybe $2,700 or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so that was like a good feeling.
Damn.
And then I found like an OG Hermes brown leather like bomber jacket, like a silk scarf kind of inside, fully authentic, just vintage. And there was like $100 in the pocket as well.
Oh, that's all. That's cool. There you go. Win-win. That's it.
That came up right there.
That was cool.
That's sick.
And so what year do you think you did the vintage stuff till?
I was doing it like on and off, I would say, but more consistently when I was starting to live in Brooklyn when Mikey was there.
Gotcha.
I was living with Mike Sherman, David Chang, and our buddy Ed.
Man, that's a crew.
And it was an amazing time in life. Very young, very free, doing what we wanted. Was DJing a lot.
That's it.
All over. It was just a wild fucking time.
See, and I love New York. I love New York so much. I love visiting it. Nothing scares me more than the thought of living there. Yeah. I just feel like that city would have, there's too much going on. I feel like it would have chewed me up and spit me out like that, you know? Like Philly's slow. Philly's a city, but Philly's slow. Philly's pace is very similar to LA in that regard.
Got it.
Like, you know, but New York would have been
fast.
Too much.
Yeah. So yeah, in 2013, I said, yo, I want to move back to LA. My longtime friend and mentor, Michael Wynn, had a brand called Publish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who I've been working for all these years, but, you know, in like a freelance capacity. And then he said, yo, just move out here. Let's do this thing together. I'm like, cool, let's do it.
I like Mike.
Yeah, he's a really solid guy.
Yeah.
So we started doing, when Jared and I started working on JSP, that was,
2012, 2013.
Yeah, but we met late 11, started working on it in 12. We're doing the sweats. Sweats are getting more and more popular. All of a sudden, this clean, like, this aesthetic for like a chino / slacker, like khaki pant.
Yep.
With a nice clean elastic waist bottom or ankle bottom, then comes out. This changes everything.
Well, really, it was a...
Hold on.
Okay.
But all fingers, all signs and arrows pointed to that being you.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Like
definitely...
that's a gnarly thing to have. Like that chain that shifted clothes at that point. Shifted what streetwear was, what the fit was, what the shape was.
I think a lot of the factors that went into play with that was it was the start of social media and really people started using Instagram a lot more heavy. And it was the early days of like still kind of lo-fi, but we were really pushing, you know, this style of pant. All of a sudden, Nike comes out with the Fly Knit runner that like really took everybody over. Right? Everybody was rocking the Fly Knit runner. They used our pants in their original campaign, even with the HTM ones, and it like blew up. It was a global thing. When the Clippers were having a strike against the owner, remember that?
Yeah.
Beef with the owner type vibe. The whole team was wearing the pants in the runway before the runway was a thing, but they were all in the media. And it was just all these things were happening at once. And the way people's sneakers and footwear, they needed a new option. Guys don't have a lot of options with pants.
Yeah.
And me and Michael always made interesting pants together, you know, because we're like, yo, dudes need more stuff to wear. Straight up.
One of the coolest ones, I remember walking through, the various trade shows at that point. I try to cut through, say what's up to Alex. I usually couldn't get to him because they were pre-booking, showing different accounts. I remember you showed me a wetsuit material one, and it had a hoodie, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing." Because me and Luch used to always talk about, like how ill would it be to have a sweatsuit that was made of a wetsuit,
right,
and he did it. And I'm like, fucking Alex, yo, this is he.
And then I saw like Martine Rose just did it recently, and it looks fucking great. Yeah. You know, like.
But this was 2015.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because Publish is just like a platform. It was like a free form to like work with a bunch of people, make some fun stuff. We had a great crew of people, and I learned a lot. Honestly,
Ben was there at that point.
Ben Wang was over there at that point. There was just a bunch of people, you know. And
shouts to Ben Wang.
Love Ben.
You connected me with Ben, and me and Ben worked together we're still kind of working together.
Yeah.
They're working together.
Yeah.
I've known Ben maybe my entire adult life.
Damn, get out of here.
And then, yeah, I mean, like,
he's a good dude.
He's
man.
a really solid guy.
Really good guy.
Sorry, Joe.
Really solid guy. Shouts to Uncle Ben.
Shouts to Uncle Ben, yeah. And that, you know, like even little things like the, you know, gotta say probably one of the first people that I know to have like a North Face shoe, the booties and stuff, you know, like all that stuff was amazing. The black and blue ones, the orange ones.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, I remember we were like talking to North Face when it was still in like Oakland or wherever in the Bay Area. Me and Michael and Nikki had went up there, and I'm like, okay, this could be a real thing. And then they're like, oh, we want you to focus on footwear, not outerwear, because we're trying to get some energy behind this category. And I said, you know what, let's do it. And we made some really interesting stuff.
You ever try the booties out?
No.
They're amazing.
Oh.
They're so good.
They're pretty cool. And then there was like a proper, like, you know, like cold weather boot that we made too. That was really sick looking.
That's sick.
Like looking back at it now, I'm like, damn, this is fire.
And that's the shit we were on way back in the day too. Like those like Euro hikers and stuff, which I still love to this day. That particular silhouette is like different, man.
Yes.
But cheers to Publish.
Cheers to Publish.
Cheers to the jogger pant.
The jogger pant.
But I think the overall theme is like there's always been all of these, you know, because like I said, me and Alex have a really close mutual friend. And so we're always rapping, we're always talking, and he's always told me that he's like, this fucking guy, A. James, is always ahead of the curve. He's always been doing this ahead. He's always been doing this ahead. I mean, still to this day, we could probably sit here and there 2-3 hours he could put us on the new shit. But I think that is what I've seen, and it's crystal clear with what you guys do today in Pleasures. You know, it's something that you've been working on for, I mean, shit, yo.
5 years now? 4 years?
No.
2017, 16?
Yeah, like loosely Vlad and I started the brand June 6th, 2015.
2015, okay.
And it was at a pop-up shop at the Undefeated Space with a Edison Chen curated a bunch of people to be in a space, a bunch of artists. We had the opportunity to put a brand in there. Vlad said, yo, let's do this together. And Mikey and Mike Sherman worked on some of the first initial designs with us.
So that going into it wasn't. So you went into it without even it being like this is going to be a brand. This initially it was
just like a project for a pop-up shop.
That's
like, we were just bored. We're just like our significant others were living in other places, and we're just like, yo, we don't want to party and do fucking long LA nights anymore. That shit's weak. That shit's played. We saw that a long time ago. Let's change it up. You know?
Amazing.
Put our energy into some other shit.
Yeah. And that's the birth of Pleasures.
That's it.
Well, that's like of all the like the kids are on some different shit nowadays. They've been on some different shit, but they're like the way the younger generations will adapt to so many different genres and cultures and they can blend it all up to make it this thing. That's what I always noticed about Pleasures, and the fact that like they could go all the way left with like some 9 Inch Nails shit, and then you could come back and do some Big L shit. And then you could do a pair of Docs, and then you could do a pair of Crocs. Yeah, that was a bar. Docs and Crocs.
I like that.
Adidas, Asics. You know, I'm still mad I didn't get a pair of the Sambas. I remember I guilt tripped Alex at where were we at? It was Complex Con. Yeah, giving Sean Weatherspoon a pair, and I'm like, damn, Sean gotta get a pair and I can't. But Sean also has 150 million more Instagram followers to me, so I cannot be mad at another man's prerogative to want to get his fucking shoe out there. But I was in my feelings for like
and it was really funny because he just had put out his Nike shoe and he's putting on an Adidas shoe.
Oh yeah, he did. Which was
like, all right, respect.
Yeah, Sean's crazy, man. He'd just be like, he gets his samples in, he posts them. I'm sure Adidas is like, what? Come on, you know, like let us get behind, let's figure this out a little bit. But I like his formula with everything.
I like his energy, and I don't know. He's just like he's actually a pretty chill dude.
Super chill, yeah.
I fuck with it. Ever since he moved out here and opened up the shop, you know, just saw these guys are like, all right, these guys are kind of like us. They're just fucking doing their own thing.
Yeah.
They're operating on their own wavelength.
They're not bothering nobody. They're not in nobody's way. Yep. You know, Yeah, if you've ever had a chance to go by round 2 when it was cranking on Melrose, it was like, yeah, this is a different world here. You know, like, I mean, half of the reason that, like, which on Melrose is so unsafe now is like the amount of money and toys and clothes and shit that's all being brought through like over there. But yeah, no, Sean's good. He's cool. He's good. But
let's not forget, shouts out to OG, Luke Mook.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Chris.
Yeah. They're good kids.
Check out Luke's NYC.
And so going into it, building out Pleasures to be what it is today, are you psyched and happy on the way that things have evolved and whatnot? Like, you know, for like, say for us, like, you know, we just got done our Vans project. It's like, these are big things for us. There are huge milestones and things that we can be really proud about. And I looked through the past 6 or 7 years and I'm like, Pleasures has got to the point where they're just having fun now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still they're really enjoying
the
things that they're being able to put forth. They're not designing for anybody but themselves, you know, and seeing other brands, I think, tap into ideas and stuff that you guys have put forth. I see it. You see it.
Sure.
But it's been amazing to watch. And I'm like,
for sure,
this doesn't surprise me once again that Alex has been this far, and Vlad, you know, Vlad too is, you know, you guys have been so far ahead of the curve with this stuff.
Well, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for Vlad being, you know, on top of it and aggressive and never really taking no for an answer, really makes you work differently. So over the years, I really I used to get mad, but now I respect it because I'm like, damn, we're here because we pushed it.
Yeah.
And we put good energy out there, you know?
For sure.
And never really, we just off from ourselves, you know? Like,
that was the biggest bar that you just dropped. I have so many friends. We have so many friends that start brands that might get into it, and maybe you have to commit so much. You got to be willing to hear. You'll hear no.
Yeah.
10 times a day, but that no can't be really what registers with what you want the outcome of whatever you're working on to really be.
Yes.
You know, and I think that, you know, to a lot of kids out there, they don't realize, like, yo, you're going to hear no 1,000,000 times. You just keep pushing through with what your conviction with your brand or idea is, and it's going to cut through all those no's.
Yes. And it's like persistence when you have you know, integrity and good work and good ideas, trying to put, you know, people on to new interesting things, whether it's film, art, music. Yeah. You know, like growing up, like, you know, we had magazines and it was still pretty early internet, but we'd ask people at the record store, yo, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
What's cool? What just came out? But we kind of use our platform to just teach people about what we think is cool.
Yeah. That's
amazing. I think you guys speak to the young generation really well.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like we speak to everybody. You know, our analytics say that it's pretty spread across. You know, like we have a interesting fan base.
And that's what before when Alex had first got here, was like he was commenting on like the Croc shoe, and like when they first put that out, like it caught people off guard, correct?
It did, and people were like, "Oh shit!" They're like, "All right, well, if Balenciaga did it and Pleasures did it, then maybe it's a thing. Who knows?" And then it kind of took off from there because those were kind of the first collaborative partners, along with OG Chinatown Market and Christopher Shannon, another great UK designer. And those were kind of like the early collaborations that I think really set it off. Ours are still the highest resold Crocs, you know, on StockX for a while. And I said, this is stupid. I think everybody should have it. So then we just remade a bunch of them.
That's it. If you were to pinpoint any one particular design or project, and it could be inline, it doesn't have to be collaboration. Just is there any that really mean a lot to you, or that is like the most special? Because you guys have done so much shit, you know. And And you could tell it comes from a personal place. So that's why I'm curious if there's.
I really liked our last project with James Lavelle and his project Uncle. I mean, it just happened like in October.
That jacket was incredible, yo.
That was probably the nicest piece that we've made as a company as far as like quality goes. It's really nice.
There was a gentleman, I met him at the Modernica thing, and he had the jacket on, and he said it worked with you. I forget his name. Fuck. He was cool though. Yeah, the jacket was sick.
Quinn?
I think it was Quinn. Yeah.
Quinn's cool. Quinn's a great photographer.
Well, damn. So that kind of ties back to what I was saying. Before I even got in the building, you guys had projects going on, which I was still trying to figure out where did you guys connect that?
Yeah, you had a, what do you call it? You were on a panel at Soho House for some.
Oh yeah.
For some sneaker event, right? And then
myself, Michael,
in the side room.
In the side room, yep.
There, yep. That's the only time I've ever been to Soho House.
And I went there, and I think we're literally sitting like right next to each other, or like I was like behind you or whatever, and then just introduced ourselves, and then you just said, "Hey, let's work on a project." So that's standard issues.
That's what I like about him, because I've gone so many places with him, and he can walk into a room full of strangers and fully coexist, and about an hour into it, he's best friends with everybody, and they got relationships. And there'll be people that I've known my whole life, and then all of a sudden they're cool. They're buying cars in other states together. And,
but that's what you want in a friend.
Yeah,
but also somebody that you work with.
He's the best dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and Vlad is the same way. Where if you put him somewhere, he's gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And connect. And I think you're the same way. And then we got connected. We kind of just hit it off. And
it was it's our first collab as Standard Issue, so it's very. It was Pleasure is very special to Standard Issue,
and for as simple as it was, it was just clean design, and people still repost the photo of Nate Day in the
guys. Shout to Nate Day. Yeah. Damn, you guys introduced me to Nate Day.
Yeah. Nate Day. Anyway,
so
so that was the first one, but I think the most desirable one was the pant.
That X-ray pant is gnarly.
And like at the time it was like, now everybody does it, right? But I think at the time, 2019 maybe.
Yep.
Right, 2018, like it was still like, okay, this is cool, this is different. It's like an interesting fitting pant that you developed on this awesome fabric. I still have like the original
slacker
run.
Yeah. The OG ones are so good.
It's like a pant that I looked for to skate in when I was like 10.
Yeah.
When I early 90s, when I wanted a bigger I didn't want a pant that wide.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like most skate pants at the bottom, you're talking
just wide
I needed
enough.
Something a little bit skinnier than that.
For sure. Just wide enough.
And my sister worked in like kitchens. She would get me
chef pants.
Chef pants. And like it was similar to that. So that's why, like, when I explain to people what that pant fits like, I'm like,
the old school chef.
But that X-ray one is the coolest pant that we've ever done.
No,
it is, yeah. And I didn't even get a pair. You guys low key did that on your own.
I didn't get a pair.
They had it at N. I thought that was cool. I'm like, damn, we have products in N.
Yeah, and it just looked good.
It looked good.
It felt right. Years later, we redid the design on a sweatpant that we developed, completely different style. Didn't feel it didn't do as well.
Yeah. It didn't translate
because that pant was just so flowy and so nice. And now I've worked on pants, I guess, over a decade, right? So I know a good pant when I see one, and I definitely think the slacker pant is one of those new pants. It was like when the crew denim hit and everybody was rocking crew jeans. Remember?
Yeah.
So, and now, dude, you go to I see people wearing the shit all the time.
Yeah.
But that whenever we're working on like other co-branded stuff or collaborations, and I try to explain to people how well that pant fits and lends itself to like any type of graphic design language, dude, it always goes over their head. And I'm like, how do you not see how fucking amazing?
I know
Pleasures did this print on this pant. Like you could run with it. And
we always use that as an example.
It is, but I'm like, yo, that pant is the best, yo.
There's a lot of great photos of that pant as well.
Get out of here.
User generated content, but also retailer content as well. There's if you Google it. There's really nice photos.
Should look into that.
So that's a good question. And me and Devin always talk about this. We're like, who the fuck does Pleasure's Instagram? Because whoever, I'm like, I feel like I think they got like a 15-year-old like kid in like the Midwest.
Big reveal. It's me forever since day one.
It's get out of here.
Yeah,
yo, it is so good, yo.
Thank you.
It's you look at it, right?
Yeah.
It's the cleverest, smartest, funniest.
Yeah, it's very
fashion, music, fucking irony, like sarcasm. It's everything, yo.
Thank you.
It's genius.
Thank you.
It really is.
Yeah,
it's like been my outlet for quite some time. And some, there's been times where my privileges have been revoked because I spoken a little too much, or maybe even been a little too.
You have to sit down with the whole
drunk or something, to talk about it. But yeah, I've put my personal feelings out there a few times, but it's fine.
See, I've never caught wind of that, so
yeah, it's all good.
But it's great though.
Thank you. Recently, we have an in-house marketing person now because we needed one, and she's been assisting with more of a structure just to the social media, which has been helpful. But it's still my voice. I'm still doing all the stuff, and I still enjoy it.
That's really good. It's really good.
That's amazing.
It's so tapped in. I was like, I would have never guessed that you had the time or the energy to stay glued in on that stuff, because it's like
it's time consuming, and it was starting to affect my marriage, and that's why I was like, all right,
I bet,
we need to post less and more curated.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, Instagram's kind of dead, so I said it.
Are you guys
quote me?
Are you guys moving to another platform?
No, just kidding. No, I mean, it's all we got for now, right? Obviously, Instagram is a necessary evil
for sure,
but it works. I still think that advertising is coming back in a big way. OOH, wheat pasting, ads.
You ever spend any time on Twitter?
Yeah, of course.
I like Twitter. Some of the funniest shit. I mean, when you filter through a lot of nutty shit, but some of the funniest people and funniest fucking
Twitter.
things I read on a daily basis are on Twitter.
I mean, that's sort of, I think, the more interesting people with different thoughts lie. They're not really on Instagram.
No, exactly. Yeah, they are on Twitter.
Yeah.
Damn, the huge reveal. This is big news, yo. Alex James runs Pleasure's Instagram.
Nah, people know it, though.
They did.
People know, yeah. Right. I mean, obviously, Vlad would always post interesting stuff over the years, but it's been like 95% me since the start.
Because I'd be like, who does it, man? Is it Austin? Like, I didn't know who did it. Yeah, it's so good.
That's funny, man.
Congrats just on the fucking Twitter feed, yeah. I mean, on the Instagram feed. All right. Well, shit, man. It is 11:41. This has been an awesome conversation. We really try to keep these things, short and sweet. Alex is like, we know everybody's got busy ass schedules. You got a family, you got kids, you got an office you got to get to. So, thank you for coming on here. Thank you for always believing in Standard Issue and JSP. Thank you for being an awesome person, contributing to this culture in so many different ways, and you're going to continue to do in so many different facets. If I had an eighth of the things you were into, I'd be psyched.
Come on.
Well, we appreciate it. I'm thankful for the years of friendship too. Literally,
sure. Yeah, man.
That's why you don't forget shit like that. When I first met you, man, it's like those memories are so burned into your mind's museum of all of this shit. So, to sit here, damn near 20 years later, and reconvene on it and talk about everything you've done between then and now is pretty awesome. So,
well, thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Shout to Vlad. I wish Vlad could have came today.
I wish Vlad could have came.
Vlad is the man.
He would have said some really funny stuff.
Vlad I met outside of a Ghostface Huff show, and we kind of knew each other, but sat there and just me and him just nerded out on dumb shit, Espo, Ari, sneaker shit, like music shit that we were all into. And I'm like, man, me and this kid are like way closer than I would ever guess, And he's born and raised in LA too, right?
Born in Ukraine.
Born in Ukraine, but raised here.
Raised here.
Yeah, Vlad's a good dude. So shouts to Vlad, man. Congrats to you, Vlad, as well.
Awesome. And congrats to you guys. And I just love to see everybody doing amazing things.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming, bro.
All right, peace. Later.
Have a good day, everybody.